Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Humor Mill TV, where we always give you the best stars. We always talk to everybody, the movers and shakers in front of the camera and behind the camera. Today, we have to have a conversation with the star by the name of Zeno Robinson. And Zeno, I'm very impressed with your resume. And before I even jump
Thank
into it,
you.
I want to give kudos to your people. Your people are on point, bro. Like your people,
Oh
like
yeah, they
you
got
get, yeah, they got it. They hold it down. They on point. They stayed on my behind, so I appreciate that.
it. Me too. Don't you worry.
I looked at your resume, man, and I looked at some of your work. I didn't realize you were in so much stuff. And on top of that, man, there's not too many people who obviously have a resume like the way you do, especially in voice acting, except for maybe Keith David, maybe a handful of people. You know what I mean? But before I jump into your voice acting career and things like that, how did you get started in this? Because voice acting is not easy to do, man, to get into obviously animation and video games and stuff like that. How'd you get started?
Yeah, I took a acting program in LA. That was it was supposed to it was for kids who wanted to sort of break into the industry. You get to audition in front of a bunch of agents at the end of like 10 weeks of training. So I auditioned in front of all the agents, and then afterward they one of them was interested in me and they picked me up, and then they sent me on some of my first voiceover auditions, and then one of them happened to be Ben 10, which I happened to book, and then it
Mhm.
was kind of off to the races from there.
The funny thing is that you don't see the pathway to getting to be able to do this. You want to get to in the industry, and there's many ways to do it, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, during that journey and everything else, did you see this to be your thing, or did you want to be more in front of the camera or behind the camera? How do you want to do it?
I wanted to do everything. I think it was I just wanted to like kind of be on TV. I think as a kid I just really like had this idea of wanting to be on TV. So I signed with the agency across the board. So I was auditioning for, on camera stuff. I was auditioning for a lot of Disney Channel shows and movies and things like that. When Cartoon Network had its live action slate, I auditioned for a lot of that stuff. And voiceover is just what kind of took off for me.
Yeah, very interesting. Well, we have you here today because we got to talk about the comic shop. And can you
Mhm.
do me a favor and explain to people who are like me? I didn't wasn't familiar with the comic shop. Can you explain to people out there what the comic shop is and what it's about and character you play?
The comic shop is a sort of it's a workplace comedy
Mhm.
that it lives on YouTube. It is about these friends, these sort of four friends who own and run a comic book store together, and sort of it kind of takes place we get to see the wacky sort of hijinks they get into, trying to sort of maintain the rent and try to maintain the place and help the business thrive in Los Angeles. I play Keith Hendricks. He's like sort of the co-owner of the
Mhm.
shop. He founded it with his best friend, Stephanie KK, who's played by series creator, writer, and star Cheyenne Iwulu. It's for people who like, shows like Community or The Office or Abbott
Mhm.
Elementary. It's kind of, it's got, wacky. We've got a D&D episode. It can get really, really wacky for
Mhm.
at times. So we've got a great slew of guest stars like Kari Payton, and Alana Pierce. It's really awesome.
So it's a film, not a series. Is what we're talking about?
It's a series. It's 6 episodes. It lives on
Mhm.
YouTube, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, I have to check it out now. Definitely have to check it out.
Check it
Now,
out.
when I saw your on your resume, I saw Demon Slayer. I have a lot of people in my family who are very, they're adamant fans about Demon Slayer and everything. Can you talk about that and how you got involved in the Demon Slayer project also? Because I got to impress my people, man, for my birthday.
I got you. I got you. Don't worry. Happy birthday.
Yeah,
Demon Slayer was it was a project I had my eye on for a really long time.
mm,
I was following the development of it. The studio who animates it, Ufotable, I knew they were animating it. I was reading the original manga and Shonen Jump, and I had a feeling it was going to go to a particular studio in LA. So I had asked the casting director if I could audition if the
mhm,
opportunity ever presented itself, and it did. And I auditioned for the first four main characters, and you know it was all cast. So I kept working on other things. I was working on an audiobook, and I got an email from the casting director that I had been cast as. a character named Genya, who only appeared in like one episode in season one. But I was
Mm-hmm.
reading the manga, so I knew he was going to appear later on
Mm-hmm.
in the show. So um, I was really happy about that. So now,
Right.
we're some years into it, and we got to the Swordsmith Village arc, and we got to and now we're here at the kind of final arc with the three films. So yeah, it's been a really great ride. It's been a great time getting to know Genya as he sort of joins the sort of the zeitgeist of characters who people start to
Mm-hmm.
like get to see more of him now and
Mm-hmm.
learn more about him, and yeah, it's been awesome.
So talk about your work with the anime that and the manga and stuff that everybody talk about that, because it seems to be there are a lot of people out there who still not hip to it. You know what I mean? They're coming on board to it and everything else, and it's one of the hottest growing things. I mean, I
Hmm.
learned about it through kids and things like that,
Hmm.
years ago.
Hmm.
You talk about that, and I think that that's the path of the future. Talk about that.
Oh, 100%. I think I mean I've always been a fan of anime and manga, and so
Hmm.
like when I first started, my first voiceover work was with Yuri Lowenthal, who
Hmm.
he's a anime legend. We're talking Sasuke and Simone from Gurren Lagann, and that's when I learned that you could kind of do both. You could be voice acting in cartoons, and you could also voice act in anime. I don't know why my young little tiny teenage brain didn't put that together, but um, I think from there I started sort of being really intentional about wanting to do more anime work and voiceover work. So I did a lot of research about what studios in Los Angeles were taking actors who were open to or who were willing to or interested in doing anime work. And so, there's a studio here named Bang Zoom. They do a lot of, legendary anime work. You hear their work on projects like Dandadan and, they did the original Samurai Champloo. They had open auditions at Anime Expo in like 2014, 15. So I auditioned both years and I got a call back the second year. Um, and that's how I got on the roster. That's what got me some of my
Hmm.
first anime work. That was One Punch Man and um, Cyborg 009. So from there, it was just I had a lot of help from a lot of great people in
Hmm.
my community who um, threw my names in doors and in rooms that I wasn't in.
Hmm.
A great friend of mine, Brittany Lotta, that's who put my name into Funimation at
Hmm.
the who was you know it was Funimation at the time. Now they're like merged with Crunchyroll. But that is how My Hero Academia happened. Is my agent was working on that, and then I got a recommendation from a good friend of mine who was already on their roster, and I got to audition for My Hero and then be in My Hero, and then
Hmm.
Hawks happened. It's been a really great journey so far.
Right. You seems like you've been in animation. You've been in. You've been Harry Osborn.
Hmm.
Which is also thing. One of my. I have a lot of kids too, so one of my kids love this Harry Osborn thing, and I told them I
Oh,
was going to
thank you.
interview. They love that. So you got animation, you've got video games, you've got manga and everything else. Are you steering more towards saying, what, I found my lane, and this is what I really intend to do, and I could probably do this for the next 50, what you probably could, because you have the right voice for this. You know what I mean? Is that what you want to do? You still want to get in front of the cameras, because this new comedy series, it could be something too. You know what I mean? You never know. You know what I mean? What's your
Yeah,
thought?
yeah. I think I still am interested in on camera work. I think I still want to work on camera,
Hmm.
and so I saw sort of the comic shop as a way to do that. I saw the comic shop as kind of an in and in that kind of way, a way to sort of show my stuff, show what I could do in an on-camera setting. And I am still very interested in that aspect of the industry and trying to do my best at like
Hmm.
positioning myself to work toward getting there. But I don't want to do that to give up voiceover work. So hopefully I want to be able to kind of like you mentioned earlier, like Keith David has a very illustrious career, and I kind of want to pattern my future career like off of that. Like he's able to do voiceover work and on camera work, and make it all work. So that's sort of
Right.
the kind of career that I aim to have for myself as well.
Well, Zeno, I don't know if you're aware of this or not. I did a little homework, and there aren't so many black men, African American men, who have done a lot of stuff that Keith David has done on the animation side and of
Mhm,
acting side. You're one
mhm,
of few and everything else. So to all the young black men coming up, hell, and even some of the older ones who's still trying to break into the industry and everything else, what advice would you give these guys to be able to break into acting scene? Is it, animation? Is it video game? Is it acting? Is it what advice would you give to these young kids who are at the Roxbury Boys and Girls Club all across the country, or at the Y, trying to figure out how to what to do with their lives? What would you say?
I think just follow your heart, take what comes, like, I think, if I had been, like, strictly like, "Oh, I just wanna do on camera,"
Mhm,
I wouldn't have sort of the resume that I have, and I wouldn't have the opportunities that I have. I think if you love acting and you love this art form, then you love it in all its forms, and, I think just follow your dreams, just go after what you want, take risks on yourself, and don't settle even when you are working, right? If you're working and you're like, this is all cool, but I really want to do this, go for it. Use what sources and opportunities and the methods at your own disposal to aim for that, to try to
mhm.
position yourself there. I think it's really possible. So um yeah, I think just like never ever give up on your dreams, and take every opportunity with grace and give it 110%. You never know what'll happen in the future.
Well, before I let you go, yeah, and I didn't want to take up too much of your time, but I know it's afternoon. You got to do what you got to do. I always ask everybody this: like, what do you have planned in the future? I know I know you got this thing right now that you're doing. It's on
Mhm.
YouTube. It's called Comic Shop, correct?
Yes, the comic shop.
Yep. Yeah.
Awkward Virgo TV.
Yeah. And so I know you're doing that, but I also know actors, they have some stuff that's coming down the pike they don't like to talk about. So can you give me at least a little scoop of something that you got coming down the pike? You can.
For sure, man. I'm really, really interested in creating and writing right now. So I think
Mhm.
the thing people can expect next is hopefully I'm creating something. There's a Zeno Robinson is producing or creating and starring in this blah 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 blah. So I got a lot of irons in the
Mhm.
fire in that department yet. So it's still to be determined, but expect something like that soon. And of course, we've got more Spider-Man on the
Mhm.
way. Hopefully, season 2 comes out at some point very soon.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that's the main stuff that I've got.
Well, congratulations working on behind the scenes and producing all like that's the way of the future. I always think. Can you tell everybody out there how they can follow you on all your socials and tell everybody how to follow your latest project?
Yes, everybody can find me at Childish Gamzino everywhere, pretty much. I think
Mm.
that's yeah. Well, sometimes it has an underscore, but that's pretty much where you can find me.
Sometimes an underscore. I don't understand that part.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And your latest project is
My latest project,
yeah. And where they find that at comic shop? It's
oh, the
comic.
comic shop. Yes, you can
Yeah.
find the comic shop on YouTube on Awkward Virgo TV. Every view helps. Please, the more views we get, the more we are. Everybody's like, "Where's season 2? Where's season 2?" Keep
Right.
watching season 1. It helps us. It helps us be able to get season 2 into more doors and on more eyes.
Well, Zeno, thank you for taking out the time, man. I greatly appreciate that, man. Good luck in everything that you're doing in front of the camera, behind the camera, with your voice acting and everything else. And honestly, you should even look into radio, bro. You got a great radio voice too,
Oh,
man.
I started. I was taking radio stuff in college, so that's really funny you say that.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
yeah, you really should do that. Yeah, thank
Thank
you
you.
guys for watching. It's Humor Mill. Of course, I'm Frank Holder. I'm your host with Zeno Robinson. We'll catch you guys again next time. Peace.
Peace out.
Hey, what you need, yeah?